Hey, how are you doing today? Gonna talk to you today a little bit about buying a house and renting. But first, we have to show you guys the stock market game rankings. And guess what? I'm catching up here to number 5, Mr. J. Dogie. Okay. Coming up, I'm catching here. Um, and we also have a new change of leadership. Sydney has surpassed the Cooster. All right. Well, there's still one more month for me, a couple of weeks actually, for me to catch up here. I don't think I'm going to do it, but you never know. You never know what the future holds. Just remember the stock market's a marathon, not a sprint. Those who want to sprint usually get burned. Um, if you hold long term, that's the best way to be successful there. All right, so 6-2, renting or owning a home. We're going to talk about the problems that you did for homework because you missed a few of them, but that's all right. Okay, so the book talks a lot about the net cost of home ownership, and so there's a lot of stuff that goes into the cost of owning a home. You have to pay for your utilities, you have to pay for depreciation on the value of your home from things getting damaged and such, and just getting older. So you got all these different expenses. You have to, pay money on the interest on your mortgage. All right. But you do, if you itemize your taxes, you can save some money on your taxes. Of course, unless you are very wealthy, you generally don't itemize your taxes. So, anyhow, that isn't really a big benefit, but a lot of people used to itemize their taxes, not so much anymore. One thing that the net cost of home ownership does not include, okay, and we're usually talking about how much it costs to own a home for a year. One thing it doesn't include is the actual value of your house, okay? Because the value of your house is equity, okay? So it actually has some value to it. So it's not really a cost, okay? Equity is a very, very important vocabulary word here. So make sure you star this word. Equity is the value of your home that you actually have on it if you take away the loan that you have. Okay, so it's a difference between what you owe and the home's value. Okay, so like if I have $150,000 home and I still owe $100,000 on it, I would have $50,000 in equity. Okay, that means I have a $50,000 basically investment. Okay, it holds value. Okay, so let's look at this first problem. Okay, so the Crafts are buying a home. They have all these expenses, so on, so on, so on, so on, so on. Nothing tricky with any of these expenses. All right, right here it switches. They lost interest income on savings to be $1,562. Okay, that actually is another expense here. Because they now own a home, they're no longer getting interest. Okay, and they do claim, so this is good. Okay, this is something that would not be an expense. Okay, so you would subtract it away from the expenses. Okay, income tax savings. So they must be able to itemize here. All right, so let's look at actually how you would do this. And in fact, I'm going to look at Cooster's work here, if I could find it. And I found it. Got Cooster's work here. Okay, so this is what he did for the letter A. This is very well labeled. Okay, so if you are, I would do this in like a spreadsheet to keep your columns neat, but this is like great. Okay, so you see all the different expenses he has added up. He forgot to put the lost interest on savings. That's an expense too. Okay, so this is the total of his expenses, but he does save some on his taxes, so you would subtract off the savings on your taxes. All right, and so the end amount, which he doesn't have right here because of the one that he forgot, but he would have been really close there. It should be $16,572. Okay, and a lot of you guys did get that one right. So anyhow, you guys probably should pause the video here and make sure you go to page 231 in your book, because I didn't bother typing up the next problem here. So make sure you get there. All right. So the Karana family is building a home for $87,000 on a lot they own. Okay, so notice how I have 87,000 crossed off here. You don't want to include the cost of your house as a expense. Okay, it's not a net yearly expense to your house because the cost of your house is equity. It does have value, so it's not really an expense. So they have mortgage expenses, property taxes expenses, insurance expenses, lost interest on income again, and then they have depreciation of 2% of the home's value. Okay, so Kuster figured it out that well by, he didn't have to work for it, but it's 0.02 times the cost of the home. So it's $1,740 depreciation and the maintenance cost. Okay, he did forget to include utilities. Okay, so anyhow, basically you're going to add up all of these expenses, and if you're not detailed and organized like this, it's going to be, you're going to miss something. Okay, and even if you are, you might miss something. Okay, and then they're going to save 1,050, so you just subtract off the 1,050 from what you get when you add all of these up. And if you did do it correctly, you should get $12,629. Okay, so that's it for owning a home, at least for now. Okay, let's flip to renting real quick here. All right, renting. Well, renting is good in some ways, bad in another. I mean, if you don't have a lot of money to put in on a house, it might be better to rent initially. You don't get any tax deductions, and you don't get any equity, so you're not investing your money, you're giving it to someone else, essentially. And one thing about renting that a lot of people don't think about is you can't just move when you want when you rent. When you rent, you actually have to sign a 1-year agreement in most places, okay? And a lot of times they make you let them know, like, even after the year, you have to give them a couple months notice before you get up and move. Okay, you can't just like disappear on them. All right, so you're really like locked into a certain place for like a year, usually when you're renting. Sometimes that agreement turns into a month-to-month agreement after that 1 year is up, but you have to look at the terms before you agree to rent. Another thing is when you go to rent, almost all places ask for a security deposit. Okay, it's just a way for the landlords to be safe, okay, in case you're a deadbeat and can't pay them. It's a one-time lump sum of money, usually about a month's rent worth, okay, so that might be like 500 to 800 to 900 to $1,000, depending on where you're living, to cover, if you damage the house or if you disappear, so they don't lose, a lot of as much money. All right, so it looked like a lot of you guys did good on C, but on D, not so much. Okay, so let's look at D real quick here. Belinda Pryor's monthly rent on a house she is leasing is $1,250. This is monthly rent. Okay, the security deposit is 1 month's rent. Okay, so that's that security deposit idea that I just mentioned. Okay, it's a lump sum of money. Belinda is responsible for mowing the lawn and clearing the snow and estimates she will spend $100 a month. Okay, so it's not just $100, it's $100 a month to get this done. She got to spend for insurance, and she has to spend for utilities. And what's the cost of renting? All right, well, let's go ahead and figure this all out. Okay, so it's $1,250 per month, so it's $1,250 times 12, plus the security deposit, which is 1 month of rent, so that's plus another $1,250. Okay, mowing is $100 a month, so that's 100 times 12. Okay, plus 136 plus 1,700. Okay, so if you do all of that, okay, and I did not label it as well as Jacob did. Let's go and see what Jacob did here. But if you do all that, you should get 19,286. Okay, let's see if I get that. Yep, $19,286. Okay, and Jacob forgot his security deposit of $1,250, 1 month rent, and also the lawn mowing is $100 a month, not just $100. It'd be nice if it was just $100, but unfortunately, not so much. Okay, so anyhow, we'll do another video tomorrow, and yep, I'll give you some problems to work on as well tomorrow. Hope you guys have a great day. Bye-bye.